We are back. Welcome to the Best Overall Show, episode 13. And
Holy
I am
shit!
here once again with my co-host and my OG co-host, David Koska. David, I'm very excited to have you back. And as some of you may notice, in HD sound and HD video. So thank you so much for moving across the country just so that you could stream better.
Hooray! It finally happened.
All right, so welcome everyone that's joining. Let me know in the chat if you guys are hanging out with us. I'm going to be going through the show. We have a few things to talk about today, but not a ton. I'm interested to kind of hear about, catch up with David a little bit. We're going to talk about Warhammer Plus. We got some thoughts around just some of the stuff that he's missed. So I'm kind of interested to hear some of his take on some of the things that he's missed in the last, it's been 3 to 4 weeks now since he's been gone. Aesthetics Deluxe, welcome to the stream. Welcome, and thanks for tuning in live. I appreciate it. Brian, thanks for tuning in as well. So, David, actually, quickly announcements as usual. I got a few quick announcements. The only one is the stream schedule for next week. So I will be posting the stream schedule tomorrow morning, and there will be no stream on Friday. So normally we're doing the politics and plastic on Thursdays, and then hobby stream on Fridays. Thursday night, I have dinner with my cousin. It's his birthday. And then Friday night, I'm going to be off in the bushes camping with no reception. So there will most likely not be an episode of Politics and Plastic next week. But if I do figure out a host and a topic for next week, I will do an episode on Wednesday. Because I love the show. I love Politics and Plastic, my favorite show to do. So I will hopefully figure something out. I have a few topics in mind because I have a big list of topics. But I have been very kind of slow to secure guests. And so I got to figure that out for next week. So very likely kind of reduced stream schedule next week. It's it's Canada Day long weekend for those of you wondering. So the US is July 1st, Independence Day, correct?
July 4th for us, July 1st for you.
See, I don't even know that. I don't even know. So July 1st is Canada Day, which is like our Independence Day, which is our birthday, which is next Thursday. So I'm going to be going for Canada Day long weekend holiday. I'm like, yeah, July 1st is, and then July 4th is the US. So it's actually kind of funny that the birthdays are so close. So yeah, that's the only announcement. Stream schedule is going to be minimized next week. But yeah, with that said, David, where have you been? Where are you now? And what have you been up to? Tell the audience.
All right. So, sorry I've been absent for a while. To make a long story short, I was dealing with a lot of emotional shit, and I really couldn't handle doing this show as much as I like doing it. Also, my internet connection was garbage, so obviously
Just say that's the reason.
Jim's like, handle it, please get the fuck out of this fucking. Get your internet figured out, but like handle your stuff. I
was almost to the point where I was gonna send you like a network card and a router. I was gonna be like, just tell me your address. I'm gonna order it from Amazon for you, and just send it to you on like pay for it. Like I was at that level because I was like, I have to have you, Fair. But I can't have your internet be this way.
Fair enough. But yeah, I was dealing with a lot of things right with a relationship, and it really kind of immobilized my life. And luckily, things are better now. Yeah, so I usually am in New York. And now I'm in Utah for the foreseeable future. I'm not sure how long it'll be, but currently I am in 2 different time zones away. So it's fascinating.
For those of you like me whose US geography is not the greatest, whereabouts is Utah? Is it like close? Is it south of like, I think it's like south of like North Dakota? Would that be correct?
Okay. Let's just say
am I totally off here?
Let's just say this is the easiest way. I live in New York, and it takes me about 23 hours of driving about 80 miles an hour to get there.
Okay. But you live in Buffalo, yeah. So like, just to be clear, because when you say I live in New York, I think people are thinking you live in like Brooklyn or like Manhattan. You live in Buffalo, which is like the edge of the state on like the other side.
Okay, yeah, fair. If I was living in New York City, it'd be another like 7 hours added onto that. It'd be like, yeah.
Yeah,
Where in Utah? I'm right outside of Salt Lake City.
I was gonna say Salt Lake City. Oh yeah, okay. Actually, now that you mentioned Salt Lake City, which I know they had the Olympics, now I know where Utah is on the map because I remember the Salt Lake City Olympics many years ago. That's how old I am, hundreds of years.
Yeah, in Park City.
So you drove all the way to Utah from Buffalo?
Yeah. So it was actually pretty fun. Tuesday, I drove out. I got to Chicago. I hit up one of my favorite tiki spots. and then immediately drove from Chicago to Boulder, Colorado, which is a 16-hour drive.
Which I have been to as well. It's like a hippie. It's like the hippie town of Colorado. It's like the hippie armpit of Denver, I think.
Nah, it's more like the yuppie town, the yuppie corner
yuppie
of
hippie.
Colorado.
Isn't that the same?
No, man, yuppies are like fake ass hippies. I don't like them. Yeah, so like I went out to Utah. I went out to Boulder. I took a day to go hiking in the Flatirons, and I went climbing out there, and it was awesome. And then the next day, I drove out through Wyoming and ended up in Salt Lake. So that was it was pretty awesome. Yeah. Now since last Friday, I've been in Utah. So not a week yet, but I'm almost a week as a Utah resident, I guess, for the time being.
David, what's the weather like in Utah? Because as I mentioned pre-show, I'm in
Stupidly
Vancouver,
hot.
which is traditionally a temperate place, but we're going through like a record-breaking heat wave right now, and it's supposed to be for those about 43 degrees with humidity this weekend, and for those that are living in the dark ages in America, that is around 110 degrees, which for me is incredibly hot. Like my co-hosts from the Exterminatus podcast, Eric and Ray, they live in Arizona, so they're probably just laughing. They're saying whatever, 110. That's like, we live, or like, they're like whatever. But for me, 110 is like the hottest like I've ever been, like in my life. So
Dude,
yeah, what's it like down in Utah?
Temperature here. Yeah, it's the same temperature, except for super dry. Yeah, so like yeah, Utah is wild with weather. Like in the wintertime, it's like 65, 70 degrees in Salt Lake, and then you drive up into like little Cottonwood Valley and it's like 30, 40 degrees. It's snowing. There's like feet upon feet upon feet upon feet of snow. It's amazing. But like right now, it's like, yeah, I was driving through Nebraska, and it was 120 for a period of time. Like it was gross.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, on Saturday I went hiking in Little Cottonwood Valley. It was 112 degrees out, and I was like, "This is stupid."
That's gross. I'm supposed to go hiking on Saturday, and it's supposed to be like almost like 90 in the day. Like we're going really early because by noon it's supposed to be like 100. So we're going at like 8 a.m. because that's the only way we can do it without dying.
Yeah, make sure you just bring extra water. I just say hydrate. Just do that, and you'll probably be okay.
I'm just gonna bring a camel pack.
I would bring just a little extra just in case. You never know. Like I always feel like getting dehydrated just sucks so bad.
Yeah,
it's not
absolutely.
Not a fun time.
And for those of you that follow David on Instagram, which is Coscamade at Coscamade, you'll have noticed that not only is David a prolific rock climber, but you've basically been painting. A lot of people think, okay, well, when you're traveling or moving, you're probably not doing a lot of hobby, but I've been seeing you paint in just about every physical natural location. So tell me about a few places that you've been painting, because for those of you that don't know, David is the one person I met who literally will paint anywhere, and he brings like a little paint kit with him and will paint literally in the forest, in the bushes, in a boat, in a hat, on a box with a fox. Like it's crazy. So tell me about the coolest place you painted in the last 3-4 weeks.
Last 3-4 weeks? I mean, I paint everywhere. Like, when I go out for like drinks by myself, I just pull out my little. So, what I do is I take this little tiny, like they have these little tiny 40K little box sets. I used to have a Lunchables like little thermos thing, but I've upgraded, and these are really nice because you can just like flip them open, put your paints in them, and put models in them, and then like right here you can put your brushes like right in between the seam, and I just take that with me. I bring like 4 colors, and I just like if I need to paint like a base tone, a base coat, a mid tone, and highlight, and like like another highlight. I have the paints to do it for the day.
Yeah.
And
do you ever do you ever use river water to like thin your paints?
Oh no, I just spit on my brush.
Oh yeah,
I eat my paint.
That's good.
A lot of people notice I eat my paint a lot.
All right, and have you been kind of following we're going to talk a little bit about the news and things that have been happening, but have you been following the latest and greatest announcements, I guess?
When it comes to Warhammer, like the last like 2 months, I literally just like shut down. I read a lot of books. I read Alfarius.
Nice.
I read.
Ooh, we should talk about that today.
What's that?
We should talk about that in the lore section today if we get to that.
Okay. Yeah, I read Luther. I read Alfarius. I finished up Mortis.
Damn, you're ahead of me. I got Luther in the Audible, and I'm like 4 hours into Mortis, so I'm behind you now.
Okay.
But
yeah, and then I finished up. Well, I'm almost done with the Magos, but I left the Magos, at home, and I forgot. I was like, I need to finish the last like 50 pages, and I just forgot to pack it. And I was like, oh. So I have that. I just picked up Ascension, which is the last book in the Blackstone Fortress series, which I'm really excited to read
Oh,
as well.
is that like the tie-in books with the board game? Like
Yeah,
they
it's
made
all
some
tied with
books.
the board game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really great. Like I really like the characters that they've built through it. And there's like a short story omnibus called like Obsidian something or other, Obsidian Vault, I believe it's called. And it's like a cool short story omnibus that like kind of like connects the two books together with
Did
all the different
they?
board game
Uh,
characters.
you can maybe answer this question for me, having read those books. But like
Yeah,
in the 40k, like normal 40k lore, like there's Abaddon had two Blackstone fortresses, and he crashed one into Cadia, which was like kind of the final gambit he made, and that's what actually ended up winning and destroying Cadia. But like
yeah,
and I think he gave the other one to Huron Blackheart, I think in the lore.
yeah,
And
yeah,
like, but in the lore, they're like one of the most powerful like objects in the universe. And like, and then they came out
yeah.
with the game, and there's like, oh, there's a new Blackstone Fortress, and like, no one really seems to care. And the only thing that's on it is like a bunch of just random like rogue traders. So like, is there any like part of, and I guess there's that one Chaos Lord that is in the like dungeon, but is there any kind of tie-in to the fact that hey, there's literally like one of the most powerful objects in the universe and powerful space stations in the universe just sitting there? Like, is there any ever resolution to that, or does it just in the end is it just still just chilling there, waiting for
No, I
someone?
mean like so like the Blackstone fortresses are like I think they're
Necron, yeah,
Necron.
I think they're
Necron
old
origin.
ones because they're made of Blackstone, which is the anti-psyker shit.
Yeah, and the Necrons know all about that nonsense.
Necrons are old ones, yeah, I can't remember who. Both.
Yeah,
Probably.
there's what's that?
I think it's both races use them.
Yeah, I think so too. But I mean, like, I know that during the like the Gathering Storm books, like, Pokemon Master Hazir in the Infinite, like, shows up on Cadia, and he can like activate the Blackstone. So probably something to do with like Necrons, like know that stuff pretty well. But the Spindle drones are like created within the Blackstone Fortress, so it's like they're not Necron in construction. So yeah, man, I'm confused about like what exactly a Blackstone Fortress is.
Well, yeah, I guess my question
um,
was like, what happens to it? The new one, is it still there? Is someone like
yeah,
does Abaddon get it? Does like no one get
no.
it?
So what's going on right now is that like the Blackstone fortresses are like technically like inert.
Right.
Like they're just like giant fortresses. And the one that Huron Blackheart has is just like a giant space fortress. Like
Okay.
it's inert. But this one is
they've
like
gone inert because I thought like they had hooked them up to like all sorts of like chaos technology to like get them like
yeah.
not inert anymore.
Yeah, so they're technically functional, but they're not like completely in control of the machine. And what's happening right now is like the Blackstone Fortress that's in the book series. It's kind of like the chaos are like infesting it, and they're trying to like take control of it.
Okay.
Because this is an area that's like they have to like activate it pretty much to like take control of it, and that's why like all these road traders and all these people are trying to like get inside of it. Like a lot of different races are like even the Eldar are trying to get into it to try to like activate like the Forge or whatever it's called. But each guys have their own way of handling it, which is kind of cool. It's a little more like mysterious, which I appreciate because GW. I missed the era of like third, fourth edition 40k where like a lot of things in the 40k lore were still very mysterious. And this
Yeah.
is kind of like helps like with that.
I really hope they one of the things I think it was from Blackstone Fortress, but I really hope that they go back and do a story on the Men of Iron. Like the whole like banning of AI, like that whole like series, like basically in 40k you're not allowed AI because at some point there was a robot revolution, there was like Terminator, and they ended up winning the humans, but at great cost. And then after that they banned AI. So I'd love to see. That's why I like the Mechanicum. It's like forbidden Mechanicum tech. So I'd love to see a story where they go back and actually tell that story of like the Men of Iron and like the first like AI and like the singularity, and like that would be really cool because I think there's a Man of Iron as one of the guys in the Blackstone, right? Like he's one of the crew members, and he just looks like that robot from Lost in Space.
Yeah, it's really cool because there's a few books in the 40k universe that kind of like where time travel kind of happens. In the Eisenhorn series, there's a very small period of time where time travel happens. I think in Ravener actually, where they go back in time accidentally to like during when the men like when the Age of Strife is happening.
Right.
And also, or no, Dark Age.
The Dark Age.
Yeah, and there's also a period of time in one of the Horus Heresy books where the people that are escaping Calth end up like using their anatheme to like
Yeah,
teleport into a period of time during the Age of Strife as well. And it talks about these like giant worm constructs that literally consume holes in the planet and stuff. And it's like,
super cool.
whoa. Yeah.
So what have you been painting though? Like, is there a specific? I saw that you've been converting some stuff, but what models? What have you been working on as far as painting?
Oh man, dude, like the last couple months, like literally like because of like my life situation, it was really hard for me to really focus on wanting to paint anything.
Hmm.
Um, or wants to like or I want to like build something. I was really thrown off. If you look at my Instagram, there's a period of time where I just made paintings. That was more of where my mental headspace was at. It was very therapeutic. I know a lot of people use painting Warhammer as a therapeutic escape
Hmm.
from their lives. For me, it was like painting paintings is what gets me through, like therapeutically, when I really have like tough stuff to deal with.
I don't know why,
But
but like, when you're like, I'm painting paintings, I immediately thought of I think it's Fulgrim, where like the Remembrancer paints the like painting, and it's like just it's like made of like the blood and like souls and like guts of like all these various different um like people on the
yeah,
crew, and then it's like it like births the demon basically or something crazy, and it's like this like she spends like and she puts her like life force into it, and then it's like super twisted. So were you painting something
yeah.
like that, or is it more normal stuff?
No, just acrylics,
Okay.
and
Not
I
no
guess
blood, no blood or souls, right?
I mean I do use spit to clean my brushes, so it's probably just like spit and tears and paint. So no blood though, that I know of. That I
That,
know of.
that's funny. I think it was Fulgrim, maybe it was a different book, but
No, it was in Fulgrim. You're right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've been working on, not that you asked, but I'm going to tell you. So we
You've been
started.
there, dude. Come on. I was gonna ask
I
you.
know.
It's like I.
I'm just trying to jump ahead because I'm impatient. So we
Uh,
have a 40K league that just started 2 weeks ago. I
yeah.
had my first game on Tuesday, which I won 75 to 30 because my army is not battle ready. Shame on me, Jim. And neither is my opponent, so that was good. So I've been working on, and I did this guy on stream. He's almost done. He's a Leviathan Dreadnought for my Emperor's Children / Thousand Sons. So the body's done at this point. I've been working on stream, and then I'm just working on all his weapons right now. And I
Nice.
just managed to secure a. So I ordered this gun. I don't know if I just ordered it by accident or I just couldn't read, but I thought I'd ordered a storm cannon, but it turns out this is a cyclonic meltalance. So all the
Yeah.
people on the stream were like, "Jim, what's the tech behind cyclonic meltalance?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh, it's not a storm cannon because I'm not using that a storm cannon." But anyways, I painted it anyways, and I've just secured a deal for my buddy has a spare storm cannon he's going to drop off to me tomorrow. But I've been
Nice.
running it with the chain fist and storm cannon. And you weren't here for this, but when the 40K FAQ dropped in your hiatus, and one of the cool things was Dreadclaw drop pods, which are the chaos ones, now have the full drop pod rule, so models can disembark turn one. So I've been painting a Dreadclaw, and I got 10 Noise Marines also on the desk. And if you want to check out those models, it's on my Instagram. So that's what I've been
Nice.
working on. And then yeah, I've just been like this focusing on this league right now. Um,
Nice.
yeah, that's kind of been my current projects, I guess. I love painting
Okay.
dreadnoughts. They're so easy to paint. Like I started this like basically like 2 days ago, and it's like this part's done. So
I wish I could say painting dreadnoughts for me was easy as for you, because for me it's like suffering.
well, I got an airbrush, so it makes my life a lot easier. Makes it a lot easier. Trust me, if it was by hand, I probably wouldn't be singing the same tune. Although I do a lot
I
of it
mean,
by hand. Once like the body and also I'm a lazy
yeah.
dreadnought painter. There's two parts. There's the armor panels, which are one color, and then all of the like mechanical is another silver color with like a wash and a dry brush. Like I don't do much more than that outside picking out a little
Yeah.
details. So once you do those two parts, the rest is actually there's very little left to paint.
Yeah. Well, for the last few months, I actually painted this Cataphrain Destroyer, the
Sweet.
plasma cannon, and the Slosher Blaster, and then this guy's almost done. I just got to finish weathering him and doing a few highlights and stuff and some detail work. But I almost have two Cataphrain Destroyers done. I finished another sterilizer, and this morning I photographed on my Instagram this brand new Skitari Marshall that I made for myself. and I'm really excited.
That
You
looks
can't really
awesome.
see.
What's that based on? What model is like the core of that?
The legs and the bottom of the trench coat are the Skitari Marshall model. The arms from the elbows are sterilizers. The pistols from the Cowboys, the Cerberus Raiders, and then it's the sword is from the Cerberus Raider saber, and it's kit backed with like part of a taser goad. And then the torso is a Dulac model, and the shoulders are from a Van Sars, and the Necron Deathmark head.
So it's like 30
And
different kits basically.
what's that?
So you rolled some green stuff in your bits box and made a amazing looking model. Is what you're saying.
Yes.
So how does it feel, David? Though I got to ask you, how does it feel being a meta chaser and playing the most powerful army in the game now as an AdMech player?
So
I'm kidding. He's been playing AdMech forever, but they're actually incredibly strong now. They're so good.
No, I played one game with them, and now I feel kind of dirty. I literally really quickly, there's the Atlantic City Open, and there's a game store in Syracuse that runs they were running prep events, and I went to one of them before the new AdMech book dropped. So I was playing with older AdMech models, and I was using Metallica as my forge roll because I wanted to try the new campaign book, and it was freaking awesome.
This is the 8th edition version.
Yeah, the 8th edition codex. And then my buddy Garner and I played a game with the new 9th edition book, and I found out very quickly how stupidly good the army is. Like when you can get like a +4 armor save modifier for a Skitari unit, and it's just stupid. It's stupid.
Did you need a flowchart to manage all your buffs, incantations, omniscias, prayers, fucking protocols? Because I started reading that and I'm like, this is a lot. And then like like the temporary ones, and there's like I was like, it almost feels too much sometimes.
I think GW really blew their load on trying to make a really complex book that didn't need to be this complex. With the amount of cluttery keyword things that they did, it just feels kind of like it was like a train wreck of rules writing, and I feel like there's going to be a massive FAQ. They would have had an FAQ by now, but they didn't. But it's very cluttery. There's a lot of different sequences, and I'm worried that because there's so many different kind of combinations, keyword management, and all this other stuff, that a lot of people are going to take advantage of it, and I'm not cool with that.
Yeah.
I definitely I like the fact that you can give Castile and robots the core keyword as long as you're within 3 inches of a data smith, and there's a lot of things about that in its own right that make it very confusing.
Right.
Like you can use oh god, Luminant Blessing is a Lucius warlord trait that gives a unit at your command phase that has a core keyword, transhuman physiology, pretty much. And so technically, if my model is core, because the data smith, I can give it to my Castellan robots to give them transhuman physiology, and then teleport them across the table. But they lose core, but they gain they gain the special rule because they had the core keyword. Do they lose that keyword, or they continue to keep it?
I already have a headache. You lost me at core.
Yeah, exactly. The problem for me is that when I play Magic the Gathering, I play Commander, and my only reason to exist in Commander is to try and break the stack. And that's just trying to create as many stupid combinations of things that would stack on top of each other in Magic to make the game almost unplayable, because your brain just hurts thinking about it.
Right.
Which luckily plays really well into playing AdMech right now, because literally you're just stacking things on top of things. You have sergeants that have warlord traits that have activated abilities that have range auras, and you're like, yeah, it's silly. It's absolutely silly.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's not just complicated for new players. I think even advanced players find it very complicated and kind of convoluted. Like they could have probably done a lot of the same things and just simplified it and reduced the amount of rules bloat. And it creates a lot of opportunity for incorrect play and missed rules and forgetful and stuff like that. And there's no and a lot of the stacking and buff stacking, it feels like, I feel like the more of that stuff you have, the more opportunity there is for things to slip through. Like these people are complaining about the 60, the Vanguard, whatever, that shoot like the 690 shots, whatever, hitting like auto wounding on 4s to hit, and it's just like just super broken. So it's like there's just lots of complaints about it. And then points wise, they're just very they seem very well costed in general.
Yeah,
Compared to
yeah.
like it didn't seem like they got a lot of points changes in general. So
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the way they treated Balistrai. They're just stupidly good. Like they're just, why would you never take like a full unit 6?
yeah.
They increased their armor save. They gave him more rules. I mean, like you put him in Lucius, you can make him like, oh my god, they're. The thing about AdMac is if you get the first turn and you kill one of their characters, like their army like becomes very, they start, the player starts to get a little worried because you only have like 3 HQ choices unless you want to run like double detachments, which like you really don't want to. A lot of people will disagree with me on that one, but I like my CP in this new book because there's a lot of strats I want to play with. But the thing is that you have one model could have like 4 different auras. It could be an aura that's already built into the model. There's a warlord trait that can create an aura or a command phase effect. There is a relic that'll create an aura or a command phase effect, and you can give them a like a cult specification. So you technically can have like 4 different auras and relic effects. To kill one character, you technically could kill off like 3 different important command phase abilities on one model. Luckily, hopefully the person that's playing this faction is smart enough not to do that, but it's possible.
Yeah, sounds like a headache. I hope chaos.
Yeah,
I hope chaos doesn't get that kind of treatment. I would much rather them move a lot of those rules just to the data sheets. And like
yeah,
I get like I know it sounds bad, but like I like the days where characters just gave you reroll ones and like you kind of that was it and you forget about it. Like this new world where like every character gives different buffs and then there's like activated like doctrines and lists. Like
yeah,
I feel like they could have baked a lot of that stuff into data sheets. So like, hey, maybe all Space Marines just have that heavy doctrine in their data sheet, and it's like not this
yeah,
like thing, right? So yeah, so we'll see.
yeah.
One thing that I have noticed though, and is that like, and I talked about this on Monday with McDougal, but like, what I'm not seeing. So when Drukhari came out, there was like a lot of panic from the competitive community with like between the Succubus, the Jazar, like all the different crazy Reliquifires, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of very obviously broken stuff that made a lot of noise around, okay, Drukhari needs a nerf. But with AdMac and even Sisters a little bit, the power is pretty spread out and everything is just really good and really efficient and really strong. So there
Yeah.
isn't really like one thing that you can point to and say, oh, this is really broken. This is what is causing the army to be overpowered. The army is overpowered because just everything is too good and everything's too
Would
strong.
be good.
And so it's really hard to like point to some specific combo. Like maybe there's 1 or 2 combos that are a little bit too good, but overall, I'm not hearing the level of like panic from like the competitive community. And I actually think that's a bad thing because I firmly believe that a lot of the reasons things like Drukhari got changed and nerfed was because of that panic, that noise, you
Yeah.
know, and so when you don't see that, when you don't hear that, when everyone just kind of accepts that they're broken and just moves on, then they just stay broken. And I'm not saying they're super broken, but they're definitely
Yeah.
like S tier best army in the game right now, based on
Yeah.
everyone that I've talked to and what I've observed.
The way I look at it is that like with Dark Eldar, and the reason why like when things get broken and they need to be fixed is that a lot of those things can be handled and played with success with any caliber of player. Like like a succubus that just murders everything is not something that is hard to play with. Like if someone tells you how to do it, you just know how to do it.
Right.
With AdMac, there's so much upkeep, like personal like bookkeeping that makes things good is how it becomes good. And the thing is, like I said, GW made a mess of this book is that like there's so much bookkeeping involved to make a unit ridiculous that they'd have to really dissect the entire book to make it manageable, to make it more like toned down.
Yeah.
But they create a monster for a good player. If a good player can read this book and understand it, navigate it, it becomes a stupidly overpowered book.
It's one of those books where you need to sit down and build yourself like order of operations and flowchart for every turn.
Yeah.
So you don't forget stuff. Like you need to write notes. You need to have little cards for yourself. You need to have tokens. You need to have icons. You need to have everything kind of in front of you because there's just so much to remember. And you got to make sure like, okay, like command phase. These are all the different things I need to do. These are all the ranges on the buffs. These are all the auras. These are all the options I have. So that just makes the game, I think, that level of bookkeeping. I mean, I don't think it's healthy for the game. I think it
No,
kind
it's
of
not. It's not.
because it doesn't just make it bad for the player, but also the opponent. You know, like it's one thing for me to understand what Space Marines do in general, but AdMech, the force multiplication and the power level increase when from the data sheet to the final result based on all of that stuff, it's so big that I can't just look at the data sheet and kind of have a general idea of what a unit does, because there's so much that's not on that data sheet that gives it power and that increases the strength of that unit. So you look at, I look at, I'm like, oh, that's a new unit. What does it do? I read it. I'm like, okay, not so bad. And then he's like, oh yeah, now with like this, and this, it's like 7 times as bad. And you're like, oh, I didn't realize it was that gross.
Yeah.
So it's really hard for you in a competitive environment, especially to like figure out what is good, because there's just so much stacking, right?
Yeah, the problem is like the reason why I play AdMac as much as I love the reason why I love AdMac is everything is pretty well. Traditionally, most things in the AdMac book were extremely mediocre, and when you started comboing units off with each other, they began to like increase in value, and that's why I liked AdMac. And so I already have this like habit of like using mediocre units to like maximize their efficiency with like comboing off other squads. So with this new book, it became like just like natural for me to like figure out combos. Like, oh, like I see this, and then all of a sudden, like people are like, Castellan robots are garbage, and I'm like, nah, they're actually really good if you look at them. Like, yeah, the shoot ones aren't great because they don't shoot 108 shots, but you can teleport a unit of Power Fist robots that can reroll charge on 3d6, pick the 2 highest, and they all get 5 attacks each with damage 3, 5 attacks hitting on 2 up.
Yeah, they're like, aren't they like T7? Like they're pretty tough.
Yeah,
they're super
T7.
defensive.
They have 7 wounds now. You could pay 1 CP to auto explode them in your opponent's faces when they die. Like
they're basically Talos. Better than
like
Talos.
there's so much, like when you start looking at like what you can do with these units, like yeah, Castellan robot, the community will tell them they're garbage, but like they still have a lot of value. And people are like, oh well, you know, like Sakaran Roughstalkers, 2 wounds apiece, the 170 points for 10 models. Like, are they really that good? And then you're like, yeah, but they can do this, and this. They can make you fight less. They can get +1 strength. They can cause mortal wounds. They're like, you can give them a 2-up save naturally. That's stupid. All you have to do is buy them a relic and a warlord trait. Sorry, just a warlord trait. You make them. There's a warlord trait that gives them. They count as being in cover at the beginning of the command phase, and if they are in cover, they get 2-ups. They get +2 to their saving throw. And they have a thing called like natural survivor, where if they're in, they count as being covered, they get +1 to their saving throw. So as long as you command phase them that ability, they have a 2-up save. And if they're in cover, they have a 1+ save. It's
awesome.
Stupid. Like, and they have a 5-up invul save instead of a 6-up now, which is really good. There's also a strategy. Oh, so this is already really bothers. Sorry. I could go on and on about how AdMech right now need a lot of fixing. Like there's strategic you know how like Insane Bravery is a 2 CP strat that's once per game that auto passes morale?
Yeah.
They have a strat that's 1 CP. Everything within 6 inches of a objective marker just auto passes their leadership.
Great.
Like, cool. Like you can put 2 20-man blocks touching that objective and they all get fearless. Like it's stupid. Like that should not be a thing, but it is.
No, it should not.
GW didn't think their way through this one. They're like, oh yeah, we're not gonna give you the 2-up save electro priest anymore. Like we totally nerfed AdMac, and then it's like, oh, you made a monster. What have you done?
Yeah,
it's pretty great.
We'll see what happens. But let's talk Warhammer Plus. So that was kind of the big news this week. I know we've had some discussions in the past on Warhammer Plus, and I talked a little bit about it last night by myself. But what is your initial impression? What are your initial thoughts based on what you've seen so far? Are you going to get it? Are you not?
Gonna get it? Why would I get that? Like, I'll just wait for like some random I'll just randomly wait for it to download for free somewhere. Like,
right, but did you see all the other things they come with?
Well, like battle reports and like sweet models. Like, cool. Yeah. Like, I'll just wait. I don't know. Like, it's cool. Like, I would maybe get it just for the Vindicare Assassin because I like that alternate pose. I mean, the basing's a bit clunky, but it is a really cool dioramic model. They're really trying to push incentive to people to get it. I'm the sucker that paid for Warhammer Twitch forever ago. So
that for me is like the worst because like for a big corporate, like that actually is the thing that bothers me. For a big corporation like GW who makes like that much money to like takes people's Twitch subscriptions from like actual gamers and people that like, because most people only probably subscribe to 2-3 channels, like one with their free Bezos bucks and like maybe one more they pay. So speaking of, if you guys have Amazon Prime, please subscribe to the channel on Twitch and or send me some subscriptions. Love it. Thank you. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube as well. Yeah, so like I actually agree with you. I think like just the model and the Warhammer app access, assuming that it improves, and the content, the video content is probably worth it because it's like $6 Canadian a month. So
Yeah.
you know, we're talking a $50 model, $70 a month. So is $20 worth all that other stuff? Probably. The thing is, like, I'm never gonna probably watch the battle reports because they're gonna be very GW-fied, right? It's gonna be kind of not very competitive. They're gonna be like way too narrative driven, and I don't watch narrative battle reports as is. I generally will watch some competitive battle reports on some competitive channels. And I'm too spoiled by things like 40K and 40 minutes where I don't want to sit there and watch a 3-hour battle report. So it'll be interesting to see the format, but I'd imagine it's going to be more like a demo game that you'd see at like Warhammer at Games Workshop than a real battle report. So that's the first thing. The master classes, like I actually really like Louise Sujinin, who's like the new presenter. She's super like her painting is really great, and like she has like a great energy. And I'm a sucker for accents too, so just being honest. But I don't think she's gonna produce like she's not an heavy metal painter, right? Even though she paints at that level. So I'm curious to see like the level of the painting on the masterclass. Like I really like Darren Latham's channel, and he did a lot of like master classes there. But again, with painting videos, like you can Google for free on YouTube just about every technique that there is. And it's free. And so again, am I gonna go pay specifically for a painting video that I could get for free on YouTube? Probably not. So for me, the only things that really interest me is the exclusives. So the exclusive model, if I get for free, and potentially access to other exclusive models. And then the app is like a 50-50 because it sucks. And then I'm willing to pay. So here's the thing, and I've said this from the very beginning. If the price is right, I would pay for the animations, but I just didn't think the price would be right. I thought they were going to charge too much for too little. But if in balance, it's like $1.50 a month. Because if I pay, say of that $70 I pay for it per year, which is what I would get, 50 goes to the model and 20 is for the animations. $20 a month is like $2. That's worth it for me to pay for those animations and just stream it. So like those two things make it like just barely break even for me. Now, hopefully, if like the app improves, if maybe the painting video is amazing, the lore thing, I don't really care that much unless they like break new ground. Like I don't want them to just go to like the Lexicanum, 40K Lexicanum, and like it's like Wade Price reading, because like half that shit they probably just pull from there anyways. But if they do like actually reveal new stuff, like new bits of canon, like secrets that aren't revealed anywhere else, that would actually be really cool. If like go to like the kind of the canon vault and they tell things, like they tell stories almost like a 1 hour thing, and they reveal something really cool as part of that, then that would be really cool. But again, that'll be on the internet 30 seconds after it's live. So do I need to watch it live? Probably not. I mean, if for instance it's revealed that Alfarius is still alive and Wade Price tells you, within 30 seconds someone's gonna have tweeted, hey, Wade Price just said Alfarius is alive on Warhammer TV. So it's like none of those secrets are gonna be that secret very long. So it's like, do I need to be there live? Again, probably not. So we'll see. And as I said, I think for their first effort, I will give them props for the price point. I thought it was gonna be like $13. I was like, GW's gonna overprice it. It's not gonna be worth it. And for the $6.99 US or $6.99 Canadian or whatever, I actually think it's like worth it, especially because you get the app, which again I wouldn't use, because unless they put a desktop version out, I'm never gonna use the app. And unless they give me digital rules, I'm still never gonna use the app. So yeah, I think it's good value. Is it what I wanted, which was digital rules? No. I said last night, if they put digital rules on it and or an audiobook a month like Audible, I would pay double instantly. Done. You got me. So GW, if you're listening,
if they give you an Audible credit, that'd be amazing.
Not even Audible credit, but like maybe they have a system like Audible where once a month you can get an audiobook and on the app, and you listen to it just through Warhammer Plus. And then
Oh, that'd be awesome.
and then like maybe you can buy more audiobooks, right? So if they could put the audiobooks and like digital rules onto the platform, I'd be there in a second.
Yeah.
But until they do, it's like it's a 50-50 for me. So I'll probably check it out for a
Yeah.
month, maybe get the free model.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
You get both free models, or just you have to choose?
I think you have
How's
to
that work?
choose.
Ah,
And then there was a
well,
funny line.
yeah.
It was like exclusive model, and then it was like exclusive access to like other exclusive models. So I was like, oh, exclusive access means we'll let you buy it.
I hope that what they do is every exclusive model is like a Xenos like important character, and then people are like, GW never releases like Eldar models, and it's like, well, we made a new Baharath, and people are like, ah! And then they like drop buku bucks to like get like the streaming channel just like and buy like they're like Phoenix Lords.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you know how you get everyone to sign up for Warhammer Plus? You put like an Elder Aspect Warriors or like a plastic Phoenix
put,
Lords.
like, Phoenix Lords, like Phoenix
put,
Lord of the Year. Like
yeah,
get,
you put a plastic Phoenix Lord there, and it's like instantly like a million signups.
exactly. That's all you have to do. Why would you make a Vinegar Assassin? We already got one of those. Put like a Karandras on there or like an Azurman. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, so we'll see. I want it to be good. I want it to be a good service. For me, it just feels like it's still all the things that they're selling as extra points don't feel like something I would want to pay for. And I'll wait and see on the animation. Like, you know, I'm happy to pay for Spotify, Netflix, because they have tons of content, basically unlimited content as far as I'm concerned. And so for me, it is a fail. The big fail for me is that now all that great animation is going to be behind a Warhammer Games Workshop only app, and it's not going to be on a larger platform like Netflix or Amazon. And as a result, a lot of people are not going to have that gateway into the Warhammer world because they're never going to see that stuff, right? And they're never going to know that it exists. Whereas if I say have a show, some of those shows end up on Amazon and Netflix, and maybe they do eventually, like maybe after a year of Warhammer Plus, they end up on those, like they sell the IP and the shows to those channels. But the problem is too, if you think about it, like think of a single animation studio. So think of like how many people are employed there to make a single animation, 10 episodes. It's like it's like hundreds of people. Games Workshop has like 2 dudes from a garage that they hired that made a Stardays, and like, do they have a whole animation studio in-house, or is it like 6 or 7 individual creators kind of just making their own animations with maybe a little bit of support? And if that's the case, the content, like, they're not going to be pumping out high quality animation quickly, right? Animation like that takes 2 to 3 years to put together, especially if you have voice acting and all the other things. So we'll see. I do wish them the best, and I hope that it does improve over time. And but as with everything, once it gets good, you know that it's not going to be $6.99. Like Netflix, remember how cheap Netflix was when it started? It was like super cheap. It was like $5.99 or something, and now it's like I pay like $18 a month. It's fucked.
You know what's really strange is that like sometimes because I'm so like, I mean, in the past I've been like super up to date with all my Warhammer whatnots, like be it like meta, be like what's going on in the game or what's going on in the hobby, anything what have you. Lately I've been kind of like, I don't know, I've been like casually like been doing my shit, but I noticed that like because of that, I've been talking to a lot more casual 40K players and people that aren't as in the loop as like we usually are. Well, Jim, like you're at the forefront. Like me, I'm kind of like at like the 3rd, 4th, 5th front point right now. I'm catching up though. I have to remember. But when hanging out with those people that are kind of like passively playing and stuff, like Warhammer Plus seems to be like a really big thing. Those are the kind of guys that still think Duncan is like the paint god, and they like talk about Duncan memes still. Like those are the kind of people that are gonna like sign on to like Warhammer Plus with like the righteous zeal of a 40K like fanboy. You know, like those are the people that are gonna be like really into it.
Yeah, for me, it's like Warhammer Plus is for the people that after 10 years in the hobby still use only Games Workshop paints, only Games Workshop brushes, and only Games Workshop glue. And guilty. Anyways, like that for me is like the Warhammer Plus people, the people that are like so entrenched in the GW ecosystem that they don't really look at anything else. They don't play any other games. But for like the competitive minded person, it's probably not for you. for the like it's for the average hobbyist. It's not for the it's not for people like me, and that's okay. It doesn't need to be, right? And I will pirate my shows, the animations that I hear that are good, and I will continue to I'll eBay the model if it's really nice, but that's basically my strategy.
Yeah. I mean, like, it was fun. I really find it funny is like over the last couple of like months, I've been like more interacting with casual players than like competitive 40K players. Because like I don't go to GTs lately.
Well, I don't
I had
either.
the opportunity. What's that?
I haven't in over a year and a half, so I feel you.
Yeah, like I had the opportunity to go to the Atlantic City Open right before I left for Utah. I ended up turning it down to spend time with my friends before I left, and it feels weird because I'm so used to jumping at any moment to just jump into a GT. And in the last because of COVID, none of us have been going to them. They're like I don't know, it's like haven't been like super like amped to like drop everything and like go into a giant concrete box to go play Warhammer the way I would play at any other concrete box, traveling 6 hours to go play at. Not to mention like so
David was actually raised by cats. There's a question in the chat if David knows his last name means cat in Russian. He was actually raised by cats in Russia. I don't know if you guys know that.
I have cat-like climber reflexes, obviously.
I agree with you. I'm as much as I'm excited to play games, I'm not that like, and I'm excited to play the first event. I still don't have that like, and probably once I play that first event, I'll be like, fuck, I missed this. But I still don't have that. Oh my god, I can't wait for events, right? Like I want to go to that first event that we have here, but I think it'll take me getting there and seeing everyone, and like that'll be finally the time where I'm like, oh man, I missed this.
Yeah, man, it was weird. I went to an RTT. I played 3 rounds. I left. I was like, God, I feel so good. I was like, it was actually like really fun. I actually played against some really fun players. They were very in other parts of New York. There's much more competitive players than where I'm from, so it's very interesting to like go check out different meta. But I played some pretty competitive players. We had really good games. I went home and being like, I went to a 3-round RTT and I felt like I went to like Nova. My brain was like short circuiting because I just like I haven't played in like a big event. I haven't played in a big event in a really, really long time, so my brain's not like wired for it. So even like an RTT like burns me out, and I'm just like, God, like if I go to like a big event, like how am I gonna handle this? Like, how drunk do I have to be to like deal with playing 40K for 3 days?
Yeah,
The answer is very drunk.
My game on Tuesday, I played at my apartment, and it was a pretty short game. I think we called it after turn 4, but even afterwards, I was like, oh man, that was exhausting.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how am I gonna go play 5 games, 3 games in a day? It's like, especially long games, like stressful games. I'm gonna be like, get me out of here. I hate this. Like, I need to retrain that like endurance, that 40K endurance in me.
Yeah. See, this is what happened, Jim. Like you and I, like we didn't get to play Warhammer, so we just like started becoming more like physically active, like biking, hiking, getting in shape with our bodies, but not our minds. And now we're gonna be slacking really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta get our shit together, man.
Yeah, dude. All right, David. I think we're gonna call it there. Nice and short and cheerful, I guess. So thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll be back on Monday, or maybe even tomorrow night with Hobby Stream, and then Monday with Competitive Corner back on the channel. My name is Jim Vessel. This is David.
I'm Dave Koska. Hey, what's up?
And this is the Best Overall Show. Thanks everyone for tuning in.